They're like, oh, you kind of look like him. I'll be like, that's strange. Okay, this. Sweet. Sweet. Love the hot mic. I could burp, I could fart. You never know what could come out. The old gloves on, we'll be ready to go. You get the same box of gloves. Some will be tight, some will be loose. They're the same size. All right. Let's get rocking and rolling. The big gulp going. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. We're just about ready to get started, you guys. All right, canvas looks pretty straight. I gotta put that new easel together at some point. Wipe off any excess off the bottom. Okay, cool. Oh, there's some gunk up here. Ew. Oh, I'm supposed to be putting this on. There we go. Drip it all over the floor is good. There we go. All right, everybody, welcome into the showsies. It is Friday night freestyle. I literally had to look over at the at the calendar on the wall. My little clock, it's got a digital thing. It'll tell me what the date is. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, it's Friday. It's Friday night freestyle, everybody. We're going to be doing an awesome little Cattails Seascape because it's been ages since we've done one. And I've got a cool idea that I wanted to try out and kind of change it up a little bit. So we're here. We've got a 20 by 24 inch canvas, so 20 wide by 24 inch high. And we're applying our BobRoss liquid white or Grumbacher's liquid white. Both of them work equally well. Right? And we're trying to get the entire canvas an equal amount of wet. And so a lot of times you have to like look down the side, angle, turn it a little bit to make sure that every spot on here has a very light coat, very even coat of this liquid white stuff on there, right? This is basically like greasing up your pan so you can do some cooking, right? We're going to use very thick oil paints that across a dry canvas will not spread very easily, right? So we're basically wetting our canvas down, kind of like buttering up the pan before we go cook something, right? It's going to be fabulous. So you guys check in. Let us know where you're watching from out there in the night. My arm's about to fall off. Oh, goodness. Whoa. Serious. You get a workout doing this. I'm telling you. So we're going to be swiping back and forth, everybody, until our canvas is nice and wet. And until you guys check in out there and tell me where you're watching from. Every single person watching the live show, watching the tutorial afterwards, maybe watching this reel. Where are you watching from right now? Tell us now. And I'll see if I can keep up with all the comments that come in. We're watching from Kentucky, Ohio. Let's see, Detroit. We got Oregon, DC, Massachusetts, Connecticut. We got Hungary. Not like I'm hungry, like people from Hungary watching. Milwaukee, Texas work. They might be hungry. Minnesota. Northern Ireland, Michigan, New York, Kentucky, Canada. Let's see. Hillsboro, Oregon. We're over here in Eugene. I don't know how far Hillsboro is. I'm not really. Oh, yeah. That's not too bad, I guess. So, where we go? California, South Carolina, Patterson, New York, right? Michigan, was that Iowa, California, Iowa again, Oklahoma, Romania, that's cool. Quebec, Canada, New Zealand over there. We got people, Killeen, Texas, watching from everywhere, you guys. So let's get all this liquid white spread across our canvas, and then we're going to put a little bit of it into our little petri dish, I call it. I just got a brand new tub of liquid white, meaning that I'll have an extra lid that I can put a bit of my extra liquid white in there. So we can use it for highlights and splash and all sorts of different stuff, right? Just want to have a little bit of it in a separate place that is not your jar, because we're going to be taking dirty brushes and dipping it in to that pile of white paint. And if you don't have it on a separate plate or a separate area, then you're going to be trying to dip your dirty brush into your pure white jar. And that's not what you want to do. You want to taint that whole jar. That jar will last you like 50 to 100 paintings, seriously. It's a crazy, especially if you spread it very thinly, okay? So we've covered the sides. Let me tell you the colors we're going to be using today. Should be about 7. We're going to be using the core 4, which are the blue, crimson, black, and white, of course. We're going to be using our Van Dyke brown or burnt umber, I believe this is, yellow ochre, and our sap green. Maybe a little bit of our dioxazine purple, only if you wanted like a little more rich color in the sky. But the purple is totally optional, as well as the phthalo green, totally optional as well. We probably won't use that one. But we're going to take our ultramarine blue. We're going to get it onto our brush right here. Start pulling it down, tapping it in, making sure. And on top of all that liquid white, right, there's a couple little kind of globs on the end, right? There's a fair amount of paint on the brush, because I'm going to use 1/2 on this one side, pulling from one direction inwards. And I'm going to flip the brush and use this half to drag from the other side, right? And now I can start using both sides of the brush, because a lot of the paint is already off of it, right? A lot of times, if you have too much paint, just like the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh, if you have too much paint, it's going to grow too far, even with the smallest amount of pressure, which is the 2nd P of Paint with Josh. Now, does anyone out there know the 3rd P of Paint with Josh? Just anyone out there in the world, do you know the 3rd P? Look at this. What if we like, what'd you say? Potato. Potatoes. Excuse me. Now, we're going to be grabbing a very, very small amount of the black paint. Don't need a whole lot. And we'll come up here, small bit, a little bit more on the left side, and then more underneath that white patch that we're kind of leaving empty, right? Now, we don't want it to be everywhere, because, and we know it's going to grow, right? So we're going to kind of putting half of what we want it to look like up there, right? And like I said, if you have the purple, you don't have to have it, but if you did, then we can throw a little bit of that guy underneath there. Again, you don't want to try to do your whole sky in purple or use too much of the purple, because it'll overtake your entire painting, right? Now, we have to go blend this out, but we can't very well do it with this brush. It's going to continue to drop more and more and more color on the more we touch, right? So let's get over here, wash this guy out, and then, ooh, I need some more of that thinner. What'd you say, Len? You dropped the who? Let's see. Oh, they say, what's your favorite sandwich? Everybody loves that, seriously. Now, let's get over here. Need to wash that brush, beat the Oshkosh bajosh out of it, right? And then get back over and start to blend all these colors together. Now, remember, they're going to grow. They're going to go crazy. We got a Reuben sandwich over there. Let's see, Monte Cristo. Is that a sandwich? Is it good? Oh, French dip. No way. With like syrup on? No, it's just like the... Really? Oh, that does not sound... I mean, you got to be in the right mood for that, I guess. You got pizza ola. I don't even know what that is. Is that like a stromboli? Right? I mean, you could consider a stromboli a sandwich. It is like contained in like a hot pocket. Cold cut. That's a sandwich right there, right? I like a, you know, I mean, I like my spicy Italian, of course. Either, you know, hot or cold, but has to have the hot peppers on it for sure, right? Now we're going to get up in here into our white area that we had started in. So it's basically just that pure liquid white on the canvas, because we didn't add any blue or black in that spot. But the more that we mix out into the blue and then back into that white area, the more it's going to change, right? I don't want it to be just a pure white splotch out there. We have to have some amount of sky color behind our clouds, right? If we don't have any sky color, then our clouds won't stand out. It'll just be too white, right? You can't see white when it's on top of white. So you have to have at least a little bit of this sky color, right? We can drag it down into that area. And again, almost looking like it's creating its own clouds, right? If I drag it out and around, and just like you used to do when you were a kid, and you would draw a sun in the top corner and then put the little bits out that way, right? We're doing the same thing, just pushing hard on the paint, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense when you think about, I want a soft sky, right? You've got to push on it hard on this brush and allow it to mix in with that liquid white base. Remember, the bottom of the everywhere, the entire canvas has this wet white base coat on it, which is going to take all of our paint straight out of the tube, right? We don't have to mix them before we put them up here because it's going to mix them for us as we brush it out, right? And so we get to decide literally every time if you have too much in there, right? Vertical, then just like a clock out to horizontal over here, and it will help blend out any hard area that you have up there. Remember, we can't have any hard streaks in our sky. That means we have to push harder on the brush. Arrgh, mateys, we've got to push on the brush out here when we're painting skies. This painting is number 2319. You guys, we got a 2319. We got a 2319. Has anybody ever seen Monsters, Inc.? It's when like the sock comes out on the monster's back. And they have to do like a whole, like a hazmat like cleanup because they had a 2319. That is this painting right here. So if you're a Monsters, Inc. fan, this has nothing to do with Monsters, Inc. but the number is 2319. So if you've been waiting for this one, this is the one that you're going to want to get because we're going to have a 2319. I might just draw a sock out there in the sand. No, I couldn't. I had that idea earlier. I was like, what if I put a sock in whatever we do? What if there's a sock in it? You know what I mean? I might try. I might try to add a sock. You know, I don't know about that. I mean, they might hit the painting and get stuck. You never know. Then we're going to have to send it. You can get London's sock. I don't know. I might try to paint a little sock on the beach or something. Just for, I mean, it'll totally be like, no, I can't. I'm not going to do it. Because I'll post it and then someone will be like, what's the deal with this sock? Like, what's that thing? Yeah. Or they'll be like, that doesn't even look like a sock because I don't know how to paint a sock. And so it's just more, you know, more harm than if I just don't do it. We'll just leave it out, right? So you guys know it's 2319. We're going to take a fair amount of our titanium white, just pure titanium white, kind of wiggling down. You can see if my thing was flat on the table, like say you got your palette or your paper plate flat on the table, so the brush is pretty flat on the table as well, right? I'm not loading it like this, not for this guy. We want a good amount of paint on the brush. And then I want to accentuate what that bright area looks like, right? I don't want to cover the whole thing because if I put something in front of it, bang, then that guy's going to look much more like a further distant cloud while this thing just pops out against that deeper color. And then we'll allow it to blend down across all of that darker paint, right? Now, if we have a brush, I just got a little bit more paint, a brush full of color, full of white, right? And we mush it up here in a random pattern, not necessarily caring what it looks like, especially on the bottom. We only really care about what the top looks like, right? So once you get it up there, you dab off your big old 2-inch brush or your 1-inch brush, whichever one you feel like doing, right? You come over here and you start very lightly mixing up your chocolate milk, right? Just like we're at a carnival. And the game is we got to mix up the chocolate milk, but the carnival part about it is that the chocolate milk is on like this conveyor belt and it's moving around. And so we're never staying in the same place. Otherwise, our cup is going to go over there and our little fork will still be over here. Yes, fork. You don't make your chocolate milk with a fork? Try it. I'm telling you. It's your life hack right there. Chocolate milk with a fork. The prongs mix it up more. Don't you tell me any different, okay? I'm telling you. Go out there and try it. Right? Now, the more that we mix up the bottom, the less the white will stand out. The more it will dissipate and disappear because it's mixing in with all those darker paints, right? So you're deciding what you think it looks like, how you want it to look, and maybe you want to have another little flat little floater out there. Who knows? Just out here. Little guy, right? Maybe he gets a little bigger on this side, but they're very flat. And this is about the only time I ever make a cloud holding it like a pencil, right? You can see the difference between them. One is all jaggedy and crazy from holding the brush vertically and spinning it. This one's much more like we're trying to draw it in and keep it nice and flat from getting too big, right? So same thing, we're making very small little things. And you can see the brush is like, I'm almost hitting it on the side. You don't want to use the whole 2-inch brush, okay? That's for certain. Now, you guys are going to hang out throughout this very cool little Paint with Josh commercial break, right? You can even, if you've blended it enough and gone across it softly enough, you can drag across it and not have anything happen. That's the coolest bit. So you guys hang out for this quick merch break, and we'll be back right after these. Hi, it's Paint with Josh back in the studio. Did you know that along with oil painting classes, we also now do acrylic painting classes? Oh, it's going to be fantastic. You can either come right down here into the studio and I supply all the supplies. You leave with a really cool painting, or we can link up via virtual class and do a video call like Zoom. It's going to be fantastic, and you're going to end up with something like this. All you have to do to book one of these Paint with Josh acrylic classes is either go to the Paint with Josh app or go to the site, find the acrylic class, book your day and your time, and we're going to have a great time. Now, let's get back up to the show and see what we've been doing up there. Let's see what we've been doing up there. Okay, now we're going to come in with a little bit of our blue, right? Fair amount of it, okay? Fair amount of our black, not as much as the blue. And remember, you don't need the purple, but if you have it, we might as well use some, right? So we'll grab some of that, get all three of those dark colors onto the brush, okay? Then we're going to try to do the hardest thing known to mankind, which is paint a straight, level horizon, just free-handedly in front of thousands of viewers, right? So you let me know if this is a level horizon, right? And we're talking about the top, not the bottom. We're talking about the top side, right? Is the top side level? Is it flat, right? Does it look like the horizon of an old oceany coast somewhere, right? Anybody? Anybody out there? Is that a flat horizon? Just yes or no, right? In the night. Where oh, man. We got yes, we got thumbs ups. Man, the very first time. I must be getting better at that then. Because a lot of times because I stand over here on the right, very close to the canvas, right? Basically, so I can see. The closer that I am this side, like closer to the canvas, looking at it more sharply, the more I can see. The more I come out here, the more the light makes reflection into my eye. But that normally means that my Seascape will end up going downward as I go further away from myself. Just my arm ends up going down. So we must be getting better. Now, we've popped in that darkness, okay? It's in the back. All we really care about is the back line being fairly straight. Doesn't need to be perfectly straight, remember. Now we're going to allow this to drop off color as it's coming in closer. I'm starting to, instead of turning the brush, you're using the brush horizontally and using all those bristles to now turning it vertically and blending this to be softer, right? The softer that I touch the canvas, the less paint will come off. Look at this. I can touch way down here. I'm touching it, you can hear it, right? But I'm touching so softly that you can't even see any of that blue. So you're adjusting and basing off of your pressure, right? How much paint is coming off of that brush. I didn't clean it. I didn't even dab it on a paper towel. I just dropped all the heavy stuff in the back and then continued to mix it and blend it so that it mixes more with that liquid white base, that wet base coat that's on our canvas, right? And if I want color to come down here, now I'm pushing extra hard because there's barely any color on my brush. Come back up here, I adjust my pressure to touching very lightly, right? You have to change in between these things, okay? Now, the more that we mix this guy, the softer it will look like our sky, right? We need it to kind of resemble our sky just a little bit, and we don't want to have too much of it, okay? I always let it grow out a little bit further, and then we're going to put some very far away little waves back there, trap this amount of glare back to about right here. The rest of this will be dark brown. Then we can put in a lot of bushes and sand and all sorts of cool stuff, right? But we're allowing that color to fall off of our brush. Now, I want to go in and wash the brush, and then we'll get a little bit more of our brown onto it, right? But we need this color to come off. We don't need the blue residue also in our sand, right? We want our sand to kind of intermix with that blue lightness that we put up there, okay? So we'll beat the Oshkosh Bajosh out of the brush. We'll come over here. Is that brand still in business, by the way? Oshkosh Bagosh? Seriously? Dude, we could like bring that brand back. I think it'd be cool. Anyway, I don't know about you guys. But now we'll take Seriously? Is Oshkosh Bagosh? Someone said yes, it is. Look. Oh, look at that. Oshkosh Bagosh. Somebody send them an email and be like, Oshkosh Bajosh wants to talk. Now, let's get a little of our raw umber, that Van Dyke brown, the very dark color. Yes.
Right. So it should be Oshkosh B Josh.
Right.
Like paint with.
Yeah.
Oshkosh B Josh.
B Josh, like B-E. I like Bajosh. Oshkosh Bajosh. There we go. Okay. So we're going to take our Van Dyke brown, and normally we would put it at the bottom because we would want the bottom to be a little darker and let it fade up into our guy, right? But I want to put that darkness up here, which is something that we've never done before. Right? Let it feed onto this area, and then the more that we mix it, once we dump off that color, the more we mix that guy with the liquid white base, watch how light colored that sand shall become, right? And then you can decide how bright it is, how dark it is, and all that. Now, I don't want to have too much brown on my brush, and so I'm going to go back and dab it off. Make sure that it's pretty devoid of brown, right? It doesn't have to be 100% clean. Then we're going to go back into our blue. See how we're right on the top, kind of just like one little bit of that brown, or the brush into the brown, getting more blue onto our brush. Right? Then we're going to go down into the brown. We'll go back up into the blue, and then back over here, almost making a figure 8. You know what I mean? We're up in here, then we're down, then we're up, then we're down, then we're up over here, then we're down, then we're up, and just going back and forth until it starts blending together, right? We want that area to be almost impossible to tell where the blue starts and where the brown starts, or where they meet, you know what I mean? And so if you can make it faded like that, and continue allowing it to mix and mix and mix and mix and mix, it'll push the water further away, right? You'll have that area that's now pushed way back. We've got our deep, darker sand. And so now we can mix this guy in, this little fella, right? You can see we didn't put any sand down here at all. So if I get some of this liquid white on the brush and start allowing it to mix more with the brown that's up there, just again, the 3 Ps of paint with Josh, right? The amount of paint that's on the brush or the canvas. In this instance, it's on the canvas. And the brush pressure, number 2P, is going to spread that paint around and allow it to mix in, right? Now, how dark do you want your sand? And that's up to you. It's not up to me, right? It's literally up to you. How dark are you painting an Oregon coast scene? Are you painting a Florida beach? Are you out there in South Carolina, North Carolina? I don't know which one. South? Are you out there in West Carolina? Right? You get to go down and see the little cattails and the white sandy beaches and all that stuff. Are you East Coast or are you West Coast? Are you Southwest Coast or are you Northwest Coast? Because Northwest Coast is dark. Phone's going to ring. It's all good. See, I'll just put it on silent anyway. That's supposed to be silent. Is it not? There we go. So, which scene, which area of the country are you painting, right? Because it's totally up to you. And if it gets really dark brown, guess what? It becomes an Oregon coast scene, and that's perfectly fine, right? Now, we do not have a lot of space for big waves, for, you know, flat water area. We just don't have a lot of space on anything because these are supposed to be distant and far away, okay? So we're going to take our palette tool. We're going to scrape down some of our titanium white right there, right? Scrape it up. There it comes right there. I can feel my watch going nuts. We'll scrape up a little bit of that titanium white, right? Very small amount. We're going to start way back here, kind of right in the middle, on the edge of the horizon, maybe the smallest bit away from it, okay? Now let's just say I start making too big of things. They don't connect to each other, right? I have to have the right amount of paint on the blade. I have to have the right angle, right? So if my handle's too close, I'm going to drop off a big chunk. If it's too far away, I'm going to drop off a little bit, but it's not going to continue, right? Watch this. I get a fresh roll of paint, okay, right out there on the edge. If I keep it very flat and make a line, it will start the line and then it will disappear because I'm not adjusting it down to reach the rest of that paint, right? So angle, especially of the blade, of the handle, right? Start, and we're going to scrape together very closely, and you'll see the handle gets closer and closer and closer to the canvas down here the further along I go, because I'm stretching that paint as far as it will go, kind of like squeezing the paint out of the tube, right? Like we're starting with a very thin line and we're squeezing and harder to get that paint to come off the blade like that, right? Starting higher here, ending lower here. We're going to do the same thing now, except in the other direction. This is easier for the lefties, right? We're trying to push hard and allow the paint to fall out of the back of the blade in that case, okay? Now, it doesn't have to be a straight line. It doesn't even have to look like mine, right? It doesn't have to be like a parentheses or anything. It's literally, it can be exactly how one would want their painting to be and however you see it, right? Because you're going to do things and then you're gonna get a result, and you might really like that result. And you're like, you know what? Oof, okay, I don't want to touch that place anymore, right? I'll go over here and do this or whatever, but I know I don't want to go back and touch that area, right? Your brain is going to remember what happened, especially if you stop and really think about it. You're like, okay, that's amazing. How did I just do that? Okay, I had this much, quote unquote, this much paint on the blade. I was at that angle away from the canvas, right? Not this, just right at the right spot. And I pushed hard enough and my clicks were just small enough to keep it together. If you really think about it, then you'll remember that next time. And you'll go, okay, I want to make that same shape that I did in that painting that I did whenever, blah, blah, blah. I was following Josh. I want to redo that now. I know I can do it because I did it before. And it's just a couple little things, right? Just how much paint, pressure, and practice do you have, basically. Now, I kind of do want to put a big crashing wave back there, but we don't have enough space. And so what we're going to do is change the angle of this back line, basically making it come down this way, right? And filling in that center area back there. There, just a little bit. It might have been a little bit too big, but if it was, I can always change the angle of this guy, right? To make it not such a severe dip in between anymore. Right now it looks like the center is coming in before the edges are. All depends on you, right? What do you feel like? Do you want to have multiple little waves? Just leave some dark spaces in between and let them fill in, right? These things are background details. Seriously, no one's even looking at this. They're just basically looking for that dark base blue shadowy ocean color with a little bit of white stuff on top. Seriously, super simple. Don't do too much. Don't let too many places look exactly the same. Right? So if you have an area that's very bright, or say I have an area that's very dark like that, and it's pretty big, what if I cut right through it in the center one time? Boom. Now it looks much more foamy and crazy and weird, right? So up to you. The titanium white does not come off the blade very simply, okay? It's not a wet paint. It's very dry paint that you're getting to spread around back here, and we do that for a reason, okay? So it's a different consistency back there than it is up here where it's going to be very wet, right? That is gorgeous right there. Now, what we're going to do is place a little bit, see, if you didn't even like areas, we could swipe that down and get rid of it, even just by finger painting, and make it disappear, right? But what we're going to do is make that shiny, wet area that everybody loves in the front. We'll take our liquid white and our titanium white, about a 50-50 mix, right? Maybe 60-40 in either direction. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician over here. Are you? What do you guys do, by the way? That's a good question. Without giving away, like if you've got a sensitive job, of course, don't say it, but what do you guys do for a living? Do you work at a restaurant? Are you in retail? Do you work at the mall? Like, do you sell cars? What do you do, right? Retired? Awesome. So what do you do with your day if you're retired? Like just whatever you want? Like, that sounds amazing. I would sleep a lot, I think. It's just like, I don't know. Massage therapist, awesome. Medical biller and coder, operations manager. Let's see. Male review dancer, excellent, right? There's all sorts of occupations out there. Let's see, recruit police officer, hairdresser. I work with people with disabilities, amazing, thank you. Let's see. High school, barista, doctor, hospice nurse, public health professional, chef. Oh, that's Leah right there. The baby says hi. Hi, Pumpkin. I was hanging out. Yeah, she's super cute. Let's see. Crab. That would be cool, right? Photographer. That's cool. Art teacher. I say that I'm one, but I don't have a degree or anything. I've just kind of taught myself. But civil servant. Cool. Cool. Wildlife photographer. That's awesome. It's hard to see the ones on YouTube because that light is directly in my way. Here we go. Hang on. Funeral director. That's crazy. Boom, ba boom. That's cool. I work in, you guys are funny. Artist, me too. I feel you on that. Right now, we're going to make that shiny wet area underneath where we'll take our liquid white and titanium white mix. We're going to come underneath this guy. And really the only way to mess it up is if we let these two bits of paint touch, right? So if you get, ooh, that was close. If you get close to it, right, then your brush has more of a tendency of grabbing the top water, right? We don't want to grab that top edge. We want to grip all this paint underneath, right? So a little scrapey here, a little bit there. It doesn't even have to be the same. It doesn't have to be equal. It doesn't have to connect. It doesn't have to do anything, right? Because our big brush is going to do all the work of pulling it down and then swiping it side to side. So even if that's heavier and that's not, or it's light in the middle, we're going to pull it down and then mix them together, right? So it doesn't really have to be perfect. If it is perfect, I feel like we may have too much paint. You know, if everything was all exactly the same, you might have too much paint right there, which may grow too far. So up to you guys in what you think it should look like, okay? Always up to you. Now let's take our 2-inch brush and we'll take a quick little commercial break and come back and make our wicked cool shininess, throw in our little specks of sand and do all sorts of bushes and crazy cattails and stuff. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. So hang out for 30 seconds and we'll be right back after these words. Hey guys, what are we doing over here? Did you know we've got more than 2,800 videos that you can watch and learn from? And we're actually going to upload this video to one of our playlists right now. You didn't know we had playlists? Tons of them from 2021, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Seascapes, landscapes, everything. Get over there, watch it. I don't know what else to tell you guys to do, but I got to get back to work. So get out of here. What are you doing? I love myself in my little commercials. What do you guys think of those? They're pretty cool, right? So take our 2-inch brush. We're going to come up here, line it up very vertically, pull it down, right? See how it didn't go very far? If I come up here and push it again, sure, I can make it go down a little bit further, but it's also going to pick up some of that brown and drop it up here, right? So we're trying to stay in that little blue zone, be very vertical, and try not to grip the paint above, right? And then I like to ask you guys, does this look like wet sandy beach? Just yes or no in the comments below. If not, tell me what you think it looks like. We get ice wall, we get waterfall, we get glaciers, we get curtains, we get all sorts of stuff. So what do you see out there in the comments below? Type it in. See that reverse flip? Like, how good do you got to be to just nail that? We get reflection, we get waterfalls, ice wall, all of that. But what if we turn this guy, all these verticalities anyway, and we pushed him hard enough to turn him sideways, right? And then let him mix down. We don't want that shininess to grow too far. But now what do you see? Do you see that wet, shiny, sandy, beachy area? Just yes or no. Just tell me, right? I asked you once before. I'm asking you again. Do you see the wet shininess reflecting there? Right, because I'm going to do one more thing that might just trap it in. We'll get a little bit of our liquid white, a little bit of our titanium white mix, same thing, right? A little bit of the same paint, very small amount of it. Let's come out here, right on the edge of that bluish brown, wherever you think you see it, and drop in a little thing, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Literally doesn't even have to connect. All it is a little bit of fish pee bubbles and fish pish out there, right? And then if you wanted any amount of detail, right, or little bits in that you just kind of horizontally scraping. I'm trying not to make them straight horizontal lines, right? But back and forth, a little jiggle here, go up, come down, a little jiggle, and just literally side to side, boom, boom, boom. You go across, you go here, you go there, right? That traps in all of that wet, watery area, right? Now, the only thing that looks a little strange is we've got this big gap right here, right? So we get our liquid white, titanium white paint, right, that mix, and now we're putting it on top of that heavy, thick titanium white, and we're bringing it down until we get this very small little separation in between the lip of our water and that bright sandy beach, right? If we come down and touch it, that's okay. That's fine, right? Let's just not do it throughout the whole thing, okay? You do have to have a little shadowy, darker area underneath that bit of water, right? Casting its own little shadow, and it's basically breaking up the water from the land, because these two colors are very similar. right? They're very bright. They're made of the same paint. And so if we allow them to touch, we won't be able to tell the difference between one or the other, right? Again, you put as little or as few or as many little bits as you want to put out there in the thing, right? Remember, it's not the focal point. The bushes are the focal point in this painting anyway. So now that we're about halfway through, right? And if you needed to make these guys any softer, you just take your fan brush and drag over them, right? All it does is push them further into the distance by becoming less thick, less noticeable, right? Now we've got our darker patch in front of our lighter patch of sand. Everything is looking fantastic. So let's get in here and start mixing up this deep dark stuff. We're going to use our crimson, our black, crimson, and blue. Very small amount of crimson though. More black and more blue, and then we're going to grab a whole chunk of our sap green. You can see it's just about the same size of the pile. So black and blue in like 15%, right? Green in like 50%, so that's what we're looking at, 90, and then like 10% of our crimson. If you use too much crimson and too much green, they make brown, right? We don't want this to be a dark brown. We want it to be a very, very, very dark green color, okay? Then we probably didn't even make up enough, but we're gonna grab our little bushy brush and we're gonna decide how high up, how far do those, but how tall are they? Where are they sitting, right? We can't really have them sitting too far into that dark bit of paint because you would figure it's too saturated for them to grow down there. It's got a bunch of salt water in there and stuff, right? So what if we started up here and we started dipping down? Boom, big old monsters, right? Plopping on all of this darkness. As you get that dark paint in there, right? That's giving us our shadow, and those shadows can be high lit, right? If we put on something that's too light in color initially, it's not going to stand out as being close, right? Because it's too bright, it's too faded, it's not deep and dark and close to us, right? So also remember, you got this downward angle here. We need to match, at least not perfectly, but at least put a downward angle here. So more paint down at the bottom, which will allow you to drag out different things, right? Isn't that gorgeous, right? We can leave a few little areas or streak in a few bits that are kind of growing up into our thing, which will just project more distance. Remember, and this one is literally half on the horizon, half of the canvas, half sky, half water and sand. So you get to decide what it looks like, right? Now, let's tap in with our big old 2-inch brush, okay? I want to tap at it first because if I just drag it straight out, it's going to drag all that green and darkness straight out into my sand, and then I'm going to have to try to fight it to keep the sand bright, right? So if I tap into the base, just like we do with our trees, right? Kind of tapping at it, tapping, tap. We're just kind of massaging the paint a little bit, right? So it's less thick because it's been mixed 20 times with all these bristles kind of squeezing all the paint with mixing it with the sand and the liquid white underneath, which is still wet, right? Everything on the canvas, the sky is, everything in there is still wet. So you can go back and do anything, right? So now that we've kind of tapped at it, we've dabbed our brush off on a paper towel, so there's not too much of that green paint up here. Now we can kind of pull out without dragging too much of that green dark shadow into our bright stuff. Right? And I'll show you when we come from this side, because we have to have one that has a shadow and one that doesn't, right? So I'll show you how much of that paint can come out if we don't soften it on our other side, right? So again, you mix it, mix it, mix it. Now, let's say you got a shadow kind of dragging out that you can't do anything with. You're like, oh, what do I do? Let's really dab off the brush or get a clean one, right? And drag from the edge, a lot of pressure, pull away when you get close to that thing. Now let's see how close we can get in there. I'm going to dab off the brush again. We're going to turn it horizontally this time, so we're using more pushing power. Pull it away, okay? You see it shrinking already? Dab off the brush again. Come over here, drag, lots of pulling power, pull away. See how it's no longer sticking out? It's much more vertically down now. You can do that as many times as you want, right? You can sit there and mix it up. You can shake it back and forth. You can do whatever you feel like doing every time that you do one of these. That's the fun part about it. Look at that, you guys. That is looking absolutely fantastical. Okay. A lot of times you can drag up towards and pull your brush away as you're dragging up, and that will create that kind of wind-swept, duney kind of a thing out here. Now we're going to need to pop in a couple little things growing up out of the top of that little guy, don't you think? So we're going to need our odorless mineral spirits or our paint thinner or whatever you use to thin the paint down, right? And we're going to make it very watery, almost like it's dripping off, right? I have a lot of it trapped in the brush, but it's dripping off, dripping down our palette. So it's very wet, just like we do when we make our birds, right? But this has more paint in it. So we can get in here, watch, we'll get in here, a little bit of pressure, you'll just drop off a little thing. More, grow up a little further, right? We have to, do not be scared for me, okay? We have to, or scared on me, get up into the water, up above the horizon sometimes, right? How big is your little guy? How many are growing out, right? And then we're gonna put a little poof on the top of them. So you gotta make sure they grow up and into the water, and that, or at least the shiny area, because it will help with our distance and pushing everything backwards. They don't have to be way up here in the sky, right? I mean, you could, they don't have to be, but you could, okay? Now, oh, I mean, we could put on those little fluffy bits, but we could also do them at the end too, so we'll see. Why don't we come in here? I need to mix up a little bit more of that same color anyway, so first I'm going to get rid of all the look at that, see it running down the blade? That's how wet and crazy that paint is. Okay, we don't want that when we're trying to make very thick bushes like our guys here, okay? We want those bushes to be chunky and textury and to have, you know, a lot of body to it, right? So if we flatten down our black, excuse me, we're gonna imagine how big your pile is. Take 50% green, what'd I say? 15 black, 15 blue, 10 crimson. Otherwise, if you mix too much crimson into your pile, it's going to turn too brown and it won't have this green kind of hue to it already, which is just going to help our highlights stay more green. Right? Now we'll take our big old bushy brush again. You guys are going to check in. Let me know where you're watching from out there in the night. And dab in to the enormous pile that we just made. I'm not trying to load the brush from these flat piles that we brush out for our sky or our sand, right? In that instance, I'm dragging the paint down and loading up the brush. This one, I'm plunging. It was like if I took my brush, which we will later, and put it into this whole pile of yellow, right? The whole brush, bam, right into there. Like almost 80% down to the bottom and then pulling it out. So we're getting lots of gunk, right? Same thing here. We're smushing on that whole big pile. Now this guy doesn't have to be as tall, right? So we don't have to start him up here. We can in fact start him a little bit lower. Drop him down a little bit lower, right? Because, just like that. Oh, see that? How his top is underneath the bottom of this guy is already going to make him look closer, okay? So then we decide what we want this thing to look like. How many little bushes, how many little bits, and we know we got to pull it all the way down to the bottom, because if we're coming down at an angle like this, we must go down at an angle like that, right? Pop these little guys out. How far do they go down? Right? Totally up to us. How much space is in between them? Totally up to us, okay? Now let me show you just a very small amount right here. If I didn't dab it and I just pull it, look at how far this green shadow comes out, right? So we do have to have a little bit of that shadow on our one side to make our sand a slightly different color over here, right? Which we can always go back and brighten up, but we do have to have something down there. And if it's too dark or too greeny even, you can tap on it just like we did with our other friend. Pull it out this way. And now, because I have this light color over here, I can dab off my brush, right? Because we didn't go all the way down to the bottom. So I can push on this stuff and slide that green back. See it? Already blending in. Boom. I already know I'm going to put something down here anyway, but you see how that's already sliding backwards? We're pushing it back like a sequin pillow, just about. You know what I mean? You can slide the colors one way, you can slide them the other way. Now, let's say I got too much green, Josh. What do I do? How do I fix that? What if we got our white, literal white paint and started to massage it in, right? Pushing it back a little further, dragging it up here, really mushing it in though, right? We don't want it to look like snow. We want to blend it out so that white looks like sand, right? Drag it back up towards your little bushes, like it's trying to flow its way up there, right? If it's, again, real heavy in a certain spot, we can brush that guy out, right? We can do whatever we want, you guys. See that? Just change it. Even these little light areas and dark areas look like ripples and different things that are in the sand, right? So all up to you, what you feel like doing, right? Now let's get a little bit more of that odorless mineral spirits, get it into that same grackish mix, I guess, right? Which is basically just a green-black mix. So we'll get that guy down here, and let's just say, I don't know, we had one growing up that way. And they don't have to be as big or as many, right? It's all up to us, literally. How many little things you got growing out there? It's up to me on this day, right? That's how many we got for today. So, very, very cool. Now that we've already done our sand and everything, okay, if we can use the last bit of that really chunky, thick paint, come in down here, right, go up into that kind of misty, sandy area so we know it's two different bushes, finish it around the edge, come down that side, right? Now we've got this little way that we can get into. How much paint do you have? How big do you want to make this guy down here? Right? How thin do you want your path to be? Right? We get to decide. Do I want to connect those guys right there? I can do it with the dark shadow and then just remember to highlight them separately, right? And now we've got this little thing going back down towards the beach, you guys. Oh, it's fantastic. That is fantastic. So if you like this one, remember, you can grab it right here live during the show. It can be your painting, and when it becomes dry, I'll send it out to you, right? But only if you like it. You got to head over to either the Paint with Josh app or the website, paintwithjosh.com, of course, and grab your favorite before it's gone. I don't like that little empty spot right there. Or that guy. Bang, right? We don't need to perfectly overfill it together, but you don't want to see too many things when you're looking down into our little guys over there, right? Very cool. Oh, I like it. Okay, I'm going to wash off that bushy brush, and we're going to take a little commercial break. I'm going to finish washing off these couple brushes, and then we'll be ready to highlight those and pop on our little cotton puffs, or whatever they are. Little corn dog plants and little cotton fluffy bits. So I'm going to finish washing off the Oshkosh Bajosh and out of this brush. And we'll be right back after these words. Hey guys, it's Paint with Josh back in the studio with you today, taking a break from editing to talk about our Glitterwix candles. Absolutely fantastic, super unique jars, more than 65 different scents that you can find if you head over to their site. Check it out, get your favorite, let us know which one you got when you come back, and let's pop over to the show and see what we've been missing while we've been gone. Let's see what we've been missing while we've been gone. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, actually, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but let's do our sand first, because we don't want to be flicking little specks of white and black and brown at our already finished bushes, right? So let's get a little of our odorless mineral spirits. I'm going to put it into my brown and my black paint. Black first. It needs to be, again, very wet, right? So we're kind of taking the paint and making it almost like watercolor, right? With more of that odorless mineral spirits. It's very wet paint. Now, we don't need too many specks. Okay, we don't want them to be too big, so we don't want to have too much paint. We don't want to have too much pressure flicking at it. And we only really want them to be right here. We can't really see the specks of sand as we go further out away from where we're standing, right? So a little bit of our brown, same thing, the brown and the odorless mineral spirits, because it's going to thin the brown paint down to like watercolor, just be watery and wet and slippery, right? If it's wet like that, it's going to spray off of the brush like it would from a little spritzer bottle, right? So if you have lots of paint up there, it's going to speckle a lot. If you just have a little, it's just going to speckle a little. So now we'll come in with our liquid white and nothing else, right? I wipe the brush off. There's no odorless mineral spirits or anything. It's just pure liquid white. Okay, we'll come back here and start flicking in little bits. Okay, there we go. We don't want to do too many, but it seems like the more white ones that you do, the more it looks like sand, at least to me anyway. Now, way out in the distance, maybe we could get just a speck or two of just the liquid white way out there. And I'm talking about the teeniest amount. I don't want to see too many little speckles way off in the distance, right? But in that wet area, you do get a little more of that shiny, wet looking sand. And then you can put a couple bubbles back there. Seriously, don't too many. You do too many, and it's going to bring everything too close. And remember, in this scene, we want them to be far away. So we're going to put our our fan brush down. We're going to grab our bushy brush and some of our liquid white. Now, we're going to be mixing on the brush, okay? So we're going to dip into our liquid white just a little bit. I didn't even dunk the whole brush. I usually try to get the top, right? So if it's sitting in my little jar, I usually angle the brush away from myself, pop it into the top. So the same thing down here, right? I'm going to come into that green, right into, and the yellow. So we're literally plunging the whole brush into the paint pile, just getting it nasty, allowing the liquid white to intermix, creating all these little stalactites and stalagmites from the brush, right? And then we're going to get up here and touch So Ever Loving Soft, right? Because if we touch too much and we plop on too much paint or we push too hard, right? We're going to cover and smash all that thick paint with all of this thinner paint, right? Now, even after doing just one thing and having all that green and yellow still on my brush over there, I don't want to continue because I'm going to have to push harder, and that's going to mix this greenish yellow paint with all that thick dark paint, which is going to make everyone's dreaded mud, right? So we go back, we dabbed off the brush on the paper towel, we got more of our green, more of our yellow, okay? Let's say I need it to be brighter here, or at least fresher, there we go, in the paint, meaning a little bit more texture on this guy. He's a little closer to us, right? So we get a couple little things out there that we can see a bit more easily, especially as they're right underneath those other highlights. Just kind of separates it for us, right? So up to us, what we want it to look like. How many little bits, how many little bright areas, but we're not trying to cover everything, you guys, right? We're trying to have little spots that are a bit brighter, some areas that are darker, right? Not even trying to cover all of that deep, dark base paint, okay? Because that stuff is where all of our depth lies, right? If we don't have those deep, dark spaces, then these bushes are going to be as flat as a griddle for making pancakes, you guys, I swear, right? I'm telling you, because I've done it before. I've seen it before a million times. All the things you guys paint, I see them all. You know what I mean? I see it, whether I comment or whatever, whether you think I saw it, I probably saw it. And I judge your guys' paintings on how I'm teaching, right? And then if I need to adjust something. So way back in the day, I was looking at different paintings that you guys had done and noticed that everybody's trees were really dark, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm clearly not, like I'm using too much of this plaque mix. We need to come up with differences in this, or different things, or some things, so that everyone's trees aren't just so dark, you know what I mean? And I thought it looked good back then, but nowadays we do them a little different. And so I'm always constant, and I thank you guys for that too, because without you guys doing the paintings, I wouldn't know if I needed to change something or do something different or teach something a little bit of a different way, right? Which we're always trying to do. Always trying to find a new way of saying the same thing a million times so that it clicks with a million different people, right? Well, 3.5 million different people. There we go. Now remember, if you're watching on a platform that is not the TubiTubes, we've got lots of tutorials over there. So full-length videos from start to finish. I even have a playlist called Literally Every Single Step. Literally Every Single Step videos, right? Those videos will show you, believe it or not, literally every single step from the beginning to the end, just like this video. We took a white canvas. We saw Josh apply the liquid clear. Right, we did, the liquid white onto the canvas, and then paint the sky and the clouds and everything else. And the only time we take a break is so I can take a drink from talking too much. Right? I gotta wet my whistle every once in a while. But seriously, nothing is edited, nothing is changed in the live shows. Everything is literally live, right? If the live show comes out great, or let's say there's like a malfunction and the video didn't save to YouTube or whatever, and I have the video, I can then go post it, right, to where it's no longer, it is the live show, but it's no longer live. In those instances, I cut things out to save time and, you know, cut out the beginning, cut out the end, all the different things and bits in the middle that I was doing, I don't know, going off on a tangent on or something, right? So those ones are the edited live tutorials. But if you're ever watching us or watching a video in the live section, there's nothing cut out. You see everything, every mistake that I make, and I show you how to fix it and all that stuff. London's got a comment. What's it say? Will you tell us what brushes you use? What is the one you use when you're smoothing out surfaces? Okay, so that would be so we use 2 different brands of brushes. One of them, the Paint with Josh brush kit, right? Black handles, so you'll notice that's the Paint with Josh brushes. These brushes are good for acrylics and oils, and you can use them. You could use it for acrylics, you could clean it and use it for oils right after that. You know what I mean? Awesome brush. And then we also use the BobRoss brand brushes, which have white handles. So it depends on which one I'm using. A lot of the times we use the BobRoss brush in the sky and when applying the liquid white. So if we're smoothing over the sky or smushing on with a lot of pressure, we're going to use the BobRoss brush because it's got stronger bristles. If I want to do something that is very light and very detailed, I'm going to use the Paint with Josh brushes, which we just did, right? And those being synthetic hog hair, right? It's just a synthetic bristle. The company is big on no harm to animals. And so synthetic bristles, but they're a little more stiff than your normal acrylic brush, so they hold the oil paints, but they can also be used for the acrylics, you know what I mean? So it depends on the handle that I'm using, but it's either a BobRoss brush or the Paint with Josh brushes. Both of them used for different things, right? And sure, you could get the Paint with Josh brush set and use the 2-inch brush to do the sky and everything, but I tend to use the Paint with Josh brushes for specific things, for finer detail stuff. You know what I mean? Like faraway bits of grass or really sharp trees or whatever the case. But as far as smoothing it out, if it's a white handle brush, it's a BobRoss brush. And if it's a black handle brush, then it's a Paint with Josh brush. Did that on purpose. I almost made my Paint with Josh brushes white handles. They were going to be white. The very first prototype set that they sent had white handles. And I was like, oh, these look gorgeous. And I was like, but they're also very similar to the Ross set. And I don't want people to be confused. You know what I mean? And so if we make mine totally different, then there can be no confusion. And you'll be able to tell when I'm using which one based off the color of the handle. Now, all predetermined, believe it or not. A lot of things Josh does is on the fly, but some things are predetermined. Okay. Now, you guys are going to have to start coming up with a title for this one. And we're going to get a very small fan brush. Very small. And we're just going to use the corner of this very small fan brush, okay? So we're not even going to use the whole brush. All we need, in this case, these are the GAC Doctor brushes if we're using a red handle. These are hog hair bristle fan brushes that are very good brushes, but they're very inexpensive, right? You can get a pack of 7 of these from, I think, one size smaller than this, all the way up to 7 different sizes, all the way up to like a 14, which is the big one I use for the clouds, right? For like 10 bucks on Amazon, seriously. And I have them in my Amazon affiliate store that you could go check out, which is in my link tree. Yeah, see, I know everything, bro. Check out the link tree, especially if you're watching on TikTok. Go to my my bio, and there's one link up there. That's the link tree. When you click on that, and it will take you to a page that shows you every possible place and every single store and everything, right? Every platform I'm on, everything, literally everything, literally. So we're going to dip into our odorless mineral spirits. Sorry. Oh yeah, and plus all the stuff that you guys can get, you know what I mean? I have like lists of different things, these brushes, the Bob brushes, all the stuff you can get on Amazon. I have a list of all that stuff, so you could go check it out, and that's in the link tree as well. Oh, excuse me, I was trying to hold that in. Okay, so I have my odorless mineral spirits, right? You can see it's not even clear. I need to clean my bucket out. We're gonna get a little bit of our black, a little bit of our blue, a little bit of that green, and I need it to be dark, right? We don't need it to be bright. It needs to be just about as dark as it was before, okay? Now, I'm gonna tap down here to try to get some of the paint off the brush. Okay. Oh, goodness, I guess we'll go on this big guy up here. Now, let me try to explain it like this, okay? If I had, okay, that's my fan brush, right? It's like a triangle, okay? I want to touch just the pinky and the ring finger bit of this fan brush onto the side of this little guy and whip it to the side, right? So I don't want to use the whole brush. I just want to use the ring finger and the index finger, just the back half, okay? We're going to touch it and swipe. Just a little whoof. That's all you need. Don't need it to be big. It just needs to be fluffy at the top. I'm serious. And we don't even have to do it on every one. That guy didn't get very big up here, but what if we grab this guy and just like that, little flip, boom. I mean, how many do you do it to? Because you don't have to do it to every one. Not each one has to be as dark or as puffy or whatever. Maybe that guy had already fell off. Sorry? It's so fun. What movie is that from? I forget. Oh, yeah, it is Despicable Me. It's so fluffy, I'm gonna... Yeah, I remember that bit. Oh, you know what we'll do too? Let's get... those are done, right? So we take... You do as many as you want. You don't need to go back and highlight those because it's supposed to be a very light puff of white, right? And so if we go back and then add a bit of white or anything on top of that very, very... What am I doing? Oh, I was going into the black, not the white, silly. I'm like, what? I had an idea because I needed one like right in here. Just a little thing, right? Boom. Just to help, again, that distance because now we're popping up into our little pathway down there, right? So, might as well sign the birds as well. And you guys are going to have to come up with a title for this painting, okay? So, whatever you might think this one will be called, let's say you painted it and it was your very most excellent painting you've ever done in all of your life. It needs a title, right? So tell us what you might call yours as we pop in the old birds and just go, caw-caw. I'm telling you, if you don't make the sound, they don't come off the brush as easily. I'm just telling you. It's for future reference. Just I want you sitting in your little painting room going, caw-caw. Just making what is the most wild bird sound that you can be. You'll have fun doing it. Don't worry. We're going to come over here. Actually, you know what? Let's launch in with our fan brush. Our palette tool. You can get in here and scrape in little bits, little branches that are growing from different things, holding these guys up. Right? Some of them show, some of them don't. Come over here and do the same little thing from the dark spaces up into the light spots. So they're holding up these different things, right? Don't want to do too many. You don't even want to be perfect with them either, right? Like, what's the point of that? I don't need it to be the same size in the same direction or anything else. And the only reason we do that first is so that I can sign it down here and not have to re-sign it after I scratch a big thing right through my signature. There, gorgeous. Okay, you guys come up with a title. Remember, if you like this one, it is available and you can have it. All you have to do is go to paintwithjosh.com or the Paint with Josh app, available on the Google Play and the Apple App Stores. Man, I didn't flub up on that one time. Whoo! Very. I mean, I've only said it or practiced it a million times. So you would figure it would come out once good. So, remember, if you like the Paint with Josh app, it is a great reminder of when the show starts. So if you're sitting there going, you know what, I never know when Josh starts. I'm always late to the show. I can't figure it out when he's going to do this or what time. And I've told you about a million times when we go live. You know what I mean? But if you're still struggling, or maybe one of the apps, whichever one you watch on, whichever one you're watching on now, isn't telling you when we start in the beginning. Some do and some don't. I've literally got a notification from TikTok an hour and 20 minutes after we had started, and I was already finished at that point. So what's the point in getting the notification if it doesn't come in while the show is still live, right? So if you like the sound of that and being told, like, hey, literally by London pushes the button and goes, okay, we're starting. Hey guys, hey everybody, we're starting now. You know what I mean? It goes out to all the people that have the Paint with Josh app. So if you want that free app, just check out the Google Store or the Google Play or the Apple App Store and just type Paint with Josh, right? And you'll see the app pull up. Oh yeah, yeah. And so yeah, I mean, we're both humans, right? We're all humans. At least some of you might not be. But sometimes, sure, London forgets to push the button, right? That she's got to do like 6 or 7 things all within like 2 minutes. And so, and I'm over here going, are you done yet? Can we start? Right? So she's like, typing out all the things and getting everything all set up. So sometimes she forgets to push the button. I would forget it every time. So at least, yeah, you got that. But And then in that case, as a backup, the apps should tell you that I'm live. And if they don't, that's what the Paint with Josh app is for. So remember to head over, check out check out this painting, which is the very first painting that you can find over on paintwithjosh.com, of course. And if you want to grab it, you get a free gift off of the Spinny Winnie wheel. So you get to spin the wheel, get the gift, and then activate the light party, which would be really cool for this painting. So in the meantime, just giving you a few minutes from now, right, to head over and check this one out. If nobody goes over and gets it, that's fine. We all have to come up with a title together, right? Pathway to Peace is cool. Let's see, Pathway to a Beach Wedding. I like that one too. Let's see, Serenity Beach is nice. Ocean's Quiet Welcome. I like that one too. Boom, boom, boom. Walking Home. I dig that. It's harder to see the ones on YouTube. I gotta put this light in a different place. Let's see. Tell us about. Okay, so we haven't had any new ones. Any new ones on YouTube since then? You guys on YouTube just don't want to talk to me, do you? That's fine. That's fine. No. That's fine to you. All of you guys. I love you anyway. Let's see. Walk to Peace, Heading Home. Yeah, just London talking to you guys in the comments. Talking to herself in the comments. Peaceful Oasis, Seaside, Splendor. Hang on, that's going to be a hard one. I don't know if the mic picks up the Herbert whistle that I do, but Seaside, Splendor. EI Blender. Perfect. Does that say the Splendor of the Salt? I like that one too. Peaceful Oasis. Walking on the Ocean. I do like Heading Home. Oh, Herbert. You guys know. If you don't know, I'm not here to tell you. I'm going to go find out. So beyond that, let's pick a title, everybody. There are 3 people over there. That does say there's an active cart with somebody checking out. So I am going to wait one more minute and just see, right? One more minute. If you were going to get this one, you would by now, right? We've been on for 66 minutes. So you would figure you'd have gotten it by now if you wanted it. So I'll give you one more minute and then I'm going to pick a title. So load up the title selection or the section, guys. So I may make a selection from the comment section. I'm like the Eminem of painting, but no, like not at all. I can barely. Yeah, I mean I do, but yeah, but I mean Eminem's amazing, but as far as like rhyming and like me, and no, I mean sure I do parody songs and stuff, but yeah, nothing like he's great. Let's see, we got Sandy Shores, Pathway to Peace. I like that one. That is gorgeous. I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Let's see. The Path is 2319. I like that. Let's see. Hold My Hand in the Sands of Time. That is a title, but I don't know if I'll have enough room to write that all out on the back of the canvas. That is a great title, though. Tanya, who's that say? Tanya, God, does it say Harper? Hagper? Harkper? I can't see it. I'm getting old. It's going to be my excuse. Anytime I can't see a comment, it's like, I'm just getting old. Yeah, that's it. I'm there. I'm saying it. Dude, that all... Randy just said the path is a sock. Look at it. It is a sock. Right? I mean, toes, and then the foot bit. No, or the ankle bit, and then the toes, or the ankle and then the foot. Right? Good call, Randy. She's like, finally, you see what I'm talking about. Yeah, the path is your 2319. That's what I thought she was talking about too. But yeah, clearly, you're very welcome, Sandy. I appreciate you. This does look like a sock, honestly. I would agree. So 2319, it does have a sock on the beach. If you're a Monsters, Inc. fan. Beyond that, let's pick a title, though. We can't just call it 2319, unfortunately. Dude, there's 6 people over there right now. Let's see what happened, though. That active cart thing disappeared. I'm not sure that I believe that anymore. So if you guys like this one, make sure you grab it. I'm about to choose a title, and I would really like to see it in a light party. Sock Path is funny. Let's see. There's the one. Pathway to Breath or Breathe. Piece of Paradise. I like that one. What was the one with the holding hands and the sands of, we just call it Sands of Time. We could do that, literally. That wouldn't be too big. Vacationing on the Coast. I like that one. The Path of Time. The Sandy Sock. Seriously, have you ever been to the beach? I don't even take my shoes off. I come home, my socks have sand in them. I didn't even remove my shoe. Like, one time, honestly, this was the craziest thing too, because I didn't walk through any dunes. I go to my favorite place that you get right down onto the hard compacted sand immediately, right? So there's no like trudging through the soft stuff and having to allow it to get into your shoes. I'm down there, I'm getting a video, and then all of a sudden this little sneaker wave comes in, totally submerges my feet, almost up to my ankles, right? And I'm standing there, I'm doing like one of those like panoramic video things, so I can't move. The waves are coming in, it's all beautiful. I'm like stuck in this position, watching my feet get submerged. When I got home, there was sand in my socks it was in the water. You know what I mean? So it's just, you can't get away from it, honestly. And I've given up on my floorboards looking nice ever again because the sand just never comes out. Like, I don't think I'll ever get a new car because what's the point? I'm going to go down to the beach and it's going to get filthy and the sand will never come out. So what's the point anymore, right? Okay, last chance, you guys. Type out your comment suggestion. What would you want us to name this guy right here? Yeah, guys. Let me know what you guys want to call this one. Sea Breeze Passage, I like. Hidden Secrets. There is a hidden secret in this painting, the 2319 sock, right? That's kind of cool. Hidden Secrets is a cool title. Beach of Paradise. Lots of IG viewers going over there. Gray Sky Breeze, Paradise Beach. Let's see, Halfway to Heaven, I like that. Heaven Awaits, that's a good title. Halfway to Heaven. Yeah, guys. That breezy seaside, sands of waves. I like that. Paradise Beach. See, the path to endless time. Let's go back to that very first one that really caught my eye, which was sand. You'll get to spin the spinny winny wheel and get a free gift, whether that's a hat or maybe it's a Paint with Josh glass. Could be the grand prize. Could be a poster, puzzle, a Glitterwix candle. By the way, remind me about that after the show real quick. And then, otherwise I'll forget. Purchased outside of live show hours and therefore don't qualify. What is that? Why do I even have to ask? I already know the number. I already know. 2318. Perfect. Calling it Sands of Time. I like that. Sands of Chime, actually. Perfect. For titanium white. Painted on 3/6 of 2026. Guys, by the way, I've been meaning to talk about it. I should have talked about it the entire time during this live show. We now have acrylic classes available, guys. So if you're an acrylic painter and you're struggling, I have a landscape scene available and then a seascape scene available. Would you guys like to see the seascape that we painted in acrylic? Because I could grab it for you. It's just, real quick like. Right? I could run over and just nab it off the wall, right? I know. Unfortunately, we can't light party unless the painting goes and finds a new home. You guys want to see the acrylic one we did? I put it in the Discord for the Discord group, but not shown it publicly besides Facebook. We made a post about it on Facebook. But this is with just 3 colors, okay? 3 colors. It looks exactly like the back of a canvas, doesn't it? It's amazing. So we've got our titanium white, our phthalo blue, and dioxazine purple acrylic paint, and then a little bit of the, what's it called, like soft mixing white or something. Transparent mixing white is what I think it was, which just makes it a little bit more like gesso-y. But yeah, with acrylics, all dry, did it earlier today, and with just 3 colors. So I told you guys we could do some cool stuff on a black canvas, especially with these acrylic paints, and we only needed 3 colors. We got our sand, which was a little bit more difficult because the acrylic doesn't want to, it's not as thin, or it's not as speckly to me anyway as the oils are, but came out really neat. This one is available if you guys wanted to grab it. It's number 2318, meaning I painted it just prior to our scene right here. So very cool though. If you want to take an acrylic class from me, that's pretty much about what we're going to come out with. right? So if you like that, if that's better than what you're doing now and you'd like to improve, then head over to paintwithjosh.com or the Paint with Josh app and just search for acrylic classes. I have a virtual acrylic class listing and an in-person acrylic class listing. So if you're in town or want to come down to the studio and do some acrylics with me, you absolutely can. And if you want to can't do clouds and acrylics, I mean, you just saw the ones I did, right? So if they're better, then let's do a class. And I'll show you my little secrets on how to do them, right? Beyond that, you guys have been amazing. We named the painting, we signed it, we did this, we've done that. I do have a commission that Robert wants me to do for him. I would need to black out the canvas, but it's also exactly like the painting that we just did in the last video on the YouTube. So I almost don't want to stack them too close together. But let's see. So you're in Ohio, so you'd be wanting doing the virtual class, right? That way, it's basically what you see on your phone right now that you're watching is exactly what the virtual class is going to be, right? It's going to be my canvas right in front of you. We're going to connect via like FaceTime call. And I'm going to show my canvas to you so I can do some stuff, and then you can copy it, and then I'll do some more, and then you can copy it, right? So literally anywhere you are in the world, if you're painting with acrylics, get the acrylic virtual class, right? So it'll say, what's it say on it? Like the actual verbiage on the thing, like, you know. Okay. Okay, so it'll say individual dash virtual dash acrylic in large capital letters, right? Yeah, and then 1 to 2 hour virtual class or whatever it says. That's going to be the one you're going to want to get. The other one says individual dash in-person acrylic class, right? So either which, like if you accidentally got the in-person one, you don't have an easel, that's okay. They do make some really inexpensive ones you can get from Michael's. You don't even need one. You could just do it on your table, right? You could hold it against yourself and do literally however you want. But they do make little easels for less than like $20 that'll hold your canvas. And then all you need is like a paper plate. And I did that whole seascape. What did I just do with it? Let me put it. Oh, it's over here. Did this whole seascape with one fan brush, okay? One filbert brush to make the moon. That was pretty much it, which you could do with a fan brush if you wanted to. I just wanted a real small one, right? So I did a fan brush all in the clouds, right? Put a piece of tape on it, fan brush back here, fan brush to make the line, fan brush to make the rolling water, fan brush to make the spray, fan brush to drag the thing, to make this, everything. And then even the fan brush to drag across and even do this with one brush. Okay, I had a few paper towels and a piece of tape. That was pretty much it. 2304? What? What's that one look like? Oh, my phone's open, so of course it didn't make the noise. Of course. Anna grabbed it. Oh, that's so neat. That's which one is that? Where are you at? It's not that one. It is Anna. Is it on the wall over here? Where is that little stinker? I'm going to find it now. And Anna just activated a light party on that acrylic painting. Not on this seascape, because it's still available. But that on that acrylic painting, we're going to do a cool light party on it. If I can find the painting. Oh, I think, you know what, that one's in the window because it was one of the best ones. And so it went into the window over here to look out towards all the customers at AT&T and then, you know, entice them. What was it? 2304. It's not that. Oh, it's this one. Yeah. It's right next to the other one. Copy. Oh, yeah. I recognize it immediately. So Anna grabbed this acrylic painting from me, right? This is one of the very first of the tree paintings that we were doing. Oh, it looks so cool on camera too. It's just striking with these monster-sized trees, dude. I'm so excited about pulling the clips, the reels and the short videos on how to make those. I'm so excited. The problem is that video is like right here at the top of the list, and where I'm at is like way down here, like 50 videos down. So I've got to chop through all these videos to get to those acrylic videos. But I'm super excited to pull those and post them and get just a million more acrylic followers to follow me. Yes, ma'am. Looking at this one. What's it say? I watched 877. Oh my goodness. How far did you have to scroll down to get to number 877, considering that today's is number 2319? right? Like how long, like, how many minutes were you going like this, like scroll, 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 you know what I mean? Going like as fast as it can. And it doesn't even go down, it goes down like 10 videos and then it has to load more. So you must have been just all day scrolling to get down to 877. Goodness gracious. Anna got that painting through the app, by the way. Thank you, Anna, for purchasing through the app. We very much appreciate you. And you gain rewards points if you've signed up for the rewards program by purchasing through the app. Very cool. How long have you been painting? About 7 years almost. Next month, it'll be 7 years. We should do like a big, like a paintiversary live show and have like a cake and like, I'll blow out the candles or something. And blow out the candles on it. It'd be really cool. So let's swap these guys out. I want to do a light party on Anna's painting. So let me give you the light warning right now, okay? It's been few and far between since we have done a light party during the show, right? That gold painting I just did last night, that one sold early this morning. And so, but it didn't happen during the live show, therefore we can't have a light party on it. And I really want to see what that one would look like. So here's the one that Anna grabbed, and we're going to do a wicked awesome light. I couldn't whistle on that one. Wicked awesome light party. Okay, all I need you guys to do is shut your eyes, right? Don't watch it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to turn these lights off while I'm talking, okay? So this is the Paint with Josh light party experience. If you are sensitive to lights and flashiness, then I shall ask you to turn away or do not look at your phone for the next about 30 seconds. I'll tell you that it is okay to look back when it is okay to look back. If you are going to stay, hi there, welcome, for the light party, giving up all liability against Paint with Josh LLC, type in the words, I'm ready, right? And then hit send and shut your eyes. As soon as you typed in, I'm ready, and you've hit send, close your eyes. Only open your eyes when you hear me count down and go, light party, right? That's when I want you to open your eyes and then tell me the first thing that catches your eye. Remember, if anybody gets a painting right now during the live show, you will also get your own live party if you wanted to go over there. And we've got some down as low as 50 and some up as high as 500 probably. So let us know. 1,500. Yeah, that big one. So let us know, what is the first thing you see when you open your eyes? Hit I'm ready, hit send, shut your eyes, and when we see enough, we're gonna get it going in 3, 2, 1. Light party! So what stands out for you the most? Right? Ooh, I think it's that little red bush in the back of the tree that's catching my eye the most. It's like flashing. Of course, the tree bark, the bright sky. Acrylic light party! The trees, the back bush, same for me. You know what I mean? It's like flashing at me going, hey, notice me back here. Right? Lots of stuff. So tell us what you think is catching your eye the most. The red bush, the sky, the bush, the bushies. No one says the trunky bark. I'm looking at the trunky bark too. Even the branches, the dark branches at the top are flashing. So lots of different items shown for lots of different people. So we're going to bring it down in 3, 2, 1. We're back to normal lighting conditions. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is something we call the RGB party. So we'll take red light, just solid red light, and then solid green, and then solid blue. You just got to tell me which is your favorite after seeing all three. And we're going to go blue first in 3, 2, 1, blue. Oh, dude, that is like nighttime realistic right there. Holy goodness. I can imagine like the moon just off the right corner of the canvas. The what? Yeah, the fourth kind for sure. The aliens are coming over the top and they're going to put the lights. Oh, don't scare me. I'm going to have nightmares. We're going to go green in 3, 2, 1. Green. Ooh. Right? The green is always wicked cool, right? It's very Blair Witchy, she said. Then we're going to go red in 3, 2, 1. Fire in the Sky. I knew it would look like that movie. Very much the same idea, London, with the blue and the red light. Two different movies split apart by like 40 years, both about the same sort of thing. All right, the fourth kind is scary, though. Okay, we're going to come back to normal lighting condition, everybody. So if you were sensitive, you may now look back. It's completely fine, and we will not be turning the lights again. Okay, so, except for this one straight into my eyeballs. So, came out fantastic. Thank you, Anna, for grabbing that painting and allowing us to do a light party during the show, right? This is the painting we actually did during the live. It is still available, as far as I know anyway. Haven't really looked, but assuming still available. Available for you to go and grab. And remember, if you get this one that's live on the show, you get the free gift as well. So, you guys have been absolutely fantastic people. I love yous all, and I can't wait to come back and we'll do something else. It'll be tonight, though. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, if that's true, London. If they did have the app, then they would be notified when Paint with Josh went live, and they wouldn't have to rely on, checking notifications or going and seeing if I was there. They would be quite notified. Remember, I wanted to show. I had this one over here as a reference, and I have this one available as well. So maybe if you want, or you're looking for something a little smaller, right? Very similar scene. Similar colors, similar everything, smaller canvas. I taught this one in a class. The only difference is this one does not have the sandy speckles, right? That's the only difference between our horizon is a little bit higher up. You know what I mean? The water is a little closer. The tide is closer in this one. It's a little bit further away in that one. Really the only difference beyond the size. But that is painting number 2273, which is the second thing that you see if you go to my website and just scroll down a little bit. This is the first painting. It's clearly we don't have a photo for because we're still in the live show, right? And the second painting underneath is that smaller one. It will remain up there as long as this one remains up at the top and remains unsold. You'll see that second one at a slightly smaller price beneath it. So beyond that, we do love you guys. We can't wait to come back. We'll do it again next time. And until we see you guys then, take care. Rest of a good day. And well, that one came out amazing. I want to thank you guys for being here, liking, subscribing, tapping the screen, commenting, and interacting with me. It's all been fantastic. In the meantime, before we get to our next painting, be sure you check out paintwithjosh.com because there's always something else to look at over there. So until I see you guys again next time, take care.